Good evening, everybody. This is Purple Table Talk with Kim
Jenvon.
and we are here to have a kick off our Purple Table Talk conversation about living with epilepsy, life with epilepsy, loving folks through epilepsy, just a little bit of everything. So,
Yes.
the whole month of March on Saturdays from at 4 o'clock, we will be going live and having different conversations on different topics as it affects those who love us, ourselves, and just some things that we go through with having epilepsy. So tonight we're going to kick off our conversations. We're not going to be on here too long. Every Saturday it'll be an hour. Tonight we're going to shorten it. We just want to give y'all a little taste, a little
Just a little
sneak peek.
taste.
Yeah, what you gonna
Seasoning.
get?
Just some seasoning on the top.
Exactly. So we're gonna do a little introduction, give you a little sneak peek at our story, and so most of the Hardy Hands community know who I am. I'm Kim Hardy, the founder and CEO of Hardy Hands Foundation. We are here to bring awareness and education to those that are living with epilepsy and support. Um, a little bit of my story is I was in a car accident as a child that gave me a concussion which woke up from my seizures and stuff. So about at the age of 10 is when I was diagnosed with epilepsy, just having seizures. And my seizures were a little bit different. They would come and then they stop, and then they would come and they stop. And that's just the grandma seizures. Now I also had the staring seizures and all that other good jazz. But recently, a few years ago, I started having them in my sleep, which is pretty scary. And my body slowly was shutting down and all that other good stuff. So I had to get through that. And getting through that and depending on letting people help me. So that's life in a nutshell for me. I'm glad to say that I'm 2 years seizure free, and and life is a lot better. How about you, Javon?
Well, at the age of 6 years old, I was stabbed in the eye by a classmate, and that pencil lead lodged itself in my left eye and caused me basically to have seizures. Such a small, innocent, probably on his part, incident caused me to change my life for the rest of my life. So I've had seizures for over 35 years, and I was diagnosed with epilepsy at the age of 6. And I started my nonprofit called the Epitome of Epilepsy, where I am the founder. And I wanted to start my nonprofit just to give people who are voiceless in the epilepsy community a voice. I wanted to be an advocate, and I also, like him, who is my lovely epilepsy sister, I wanted to educate people on the things to do, the things not to do. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
All right. So with your situation, have you had people in your life with epilepsy or
No,
seizures, or
no, I
friends that?
am I don't have friends that have epilepsy besides you. I like my close immediate friends that I've been friends with for almost 20 years. None of them have seizures. None of them have epilepsy. So I think it took me a while, especially with my friends, to mention it to them, but they actually got to see it. I think I had my first seizure in college at a cheerleading competition around them. But I'm the only person like in my family that has epilepsy. What
That you
about you?
know of?
Yeah, that I
That you
know of.
know? Yeah.
That I know of. But
'Cause,
I'm the only person, and that's for my dad's side. My dad's side and my mom's side. I'm the only person that has epilepsy.
yeah, the stigma behind epilepsy is we don't talk about, especially in the African
Yeah,
American
in the
community.
African American community, it's
Just
almost like it's
just
swept
don't.
under the rug.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
mhm.
similar to what's going on with mental
With
health
mental
issues
health.
and stuff.
Hmm.
And some will ask, well, what's the reason for that? The reason being is because it's simple. It's because back in the early days, they were called epilepsy seizures and epilepsy spells,
Yeah,
and they would think it was
demons.
from the devil. and it
Yes.
was evil, and they would put people away in asylums and stuff, and
Hmm.
all kinds of craziness would go on because they thought it was just simply something evil and from the devil. You
Right.
know, my Shiro Harriet Tubman shows
She
you
wrote. She
we could do
wrote.
anything. We just
She
shake a little bit. That's all.
wrote.
Just shake a little bit. That's all. That's all.
Well, I call my seizures bossy because they come whenever they want to. Like, since now that I'm an adult, my seizure pattern definitely has changed from me being a little girl, a young girl, a teenager, and now to my adult. I really think I've had every type of seizure that there is.
Now,
Now,
I'm gonna tell you that doctors have said that your seizures can change up.
yeah, they do.
Yeah,
They have a pattern. So now when I have seizures now, they come in clusters. I just don't have one. I have at least maybe 3 to 4 in a time, like in one day. And I'm out. Listen, anybody who has epilepsy know that once you have so many seizures, your body is tired. Leave me alone. I'm gonna be moody.
yeah.
I need to sleep. I have a headache. I may be nauseous. But I will say this, and it's like the best sleep though.
It is.
I mean, after I get sick, I sleep so good. And it's not, that's a bad thing to say, but I mean, I'm being honest.
Well, I mean, most of us have insomnia from time to
Yes,
time. So
yeah, I don't sleep either.
I know when I was having mine in my sleep, I would be up. I would be awake for days. One of my
I
besties,
think that's the
who
scariest
you guys will
thing.
meet later, we literally talked all night.
Yeah.
And then eventually I would fall asleep, but wake back up if I didn't have a seizure. So yeah,
I think it's good though when you have people in your life, especially friends who are just as caring as family, who can be there for you in moments like that, because it can be scary, especially
yep,
for the person who is having the seizure. So you always want to make sure that you're being a support system even when
right.
they're going through, like just being a support system. And what I hate the most is when people feel sorry for me. Like, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I don't. I'm good.
Or if you're venting and you're just expressing how you're feeling, just if you don't know what to say, don't say anything.
Don't
It's
say
fine.
nothing.
It's fine. I just need you to listen. Give
So
me a
what are some
hug.
of the things you've heard, like dealing with epilepsy, like questions people have asked you, like, people say to me, can we put a spoon in your mouth?
Right. That yeah, that's an absolute no no.
Might break my
Oh
teeth.
no, the other one. So how long should I call the ambulance?
Oh
No,
yeah. Hmm.
no, not
I
unless
think
it
people
goes on way too
Yeah,
long.
but I
But
think what
no, that's a
people
bill I don't need.
yeah, I don't. And listen, I know
Yeah,
that has happened to both of us on many occasions, but
yeah,
I do think that people who associate seizures or epilepsy with what they see on TV,
yeah,
which,
yeah.
yeah,
Because what people only identify with is the grandma seizures.
mhm.
I was in class. I would be having them in class. Didn't even realize it.
You get
They
staring
actually
seizures?
diagnosed me with ADD
Mm,
because our attention spans aren't that long, and
mhm.
then you be sitting there and staring off and be like this.
So you had staring seizures. I did
Yeah,
too. I
yeah.
had staring seizures, seizures in my sleep. Girl, one day in church, I got up and just started running around. I didn't know what
That's not funny, but it's funny. I'm
I
sorry.
got up, started running around. And I mean, my mom knows me, so she knew what was going on, but I did not know that I was doing this. And then I collapsed and started, shaking or whatever. But yeah,
Well, because that in itself, when you got up, you was having a seizure.
right.
You was just still moving.
Yeah, it was
Seizures look
part of
different for everybody.
everybody. And then people who have epilepsy too have like a twitch. They can twitch, and those are little spurts in the brain that are seizures. They may not be as big as what you see. I know I
Right.
jerk a lot in my sleep.
Man, let me tell you, I'll play mine off because I'll do it if I haven't had enough sleep. That's when I'll do a quick like this. And
That's
sometimes
what I look like.
whatever's in my hand, I tend to drop it. I just play it off like I'm having a cold chill. So
Yeah.
anytime I have a cold chill, nobody really knows whether it's a cold chill or it's not saying
What
funny,
about
but I'm like,
tremors? Do
woo,
your hands shake
woo, that
a
was
lot?
kind of cold.
You
Huh?
silly. Do your hands shake? Like, do you have tremors?
I do. I get tremors. I especially got them a lot when I was having the seizures in my sleep. But yeah, my hands will be like this sometimes. Oh, you can't see it. It's like this. I gotta get used to this
No.
camera. Y'all. It's
Oh boy, I can't with you, Kim. I can't. I just
okay.
can't.
It's all right. But you asked me what people have said to me. Like, okay, so when I was having the seizures in my sleep, I was often scared to go to sleep. So people would say, you gotta keep your faith and believe God will heal you and stuff like that. And you can't be scared because fear don't reside in the same space and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay.
Those two don't go together, but okay.
Yeah, well, it makes me not want to talk to you. So,
Hmm. It's
because
okay.
yeah, because one thing, and I'm sure you agree with me on is our faith is strong. I
Mhm.
mean, you need it to get through this, otherwise you wouldn't. Because anxiety and depression with
It's
people with
real.
epilepsy is real.
Mhm.
It's real, real. We're
Mhm.
moody.
All
We
the
could be some
time.
moody folks,
Yes, 24/7. My mom
but
says that
love it
about
at
me
the
all
same
the time.
time.
Moody.
My
Mm.
mom's like, I ain't paying you no attention no
Yeah,
more.
that's what my mom says. She's like, I'm not paying you no attention. Just go.
Go
I'm not
on,
paying you.
when you over this, just we'll talk again then.
Do you think that, so now that we both kind of shared our stories, w- how do you feel living with epilepsy? Do you think it's been a burden? Do you think it's taught you something about yourself?
I used to think it was, have dealing with relationships, certain so-called friends. But the older the older I get, I realize um it's a blessing and a curse at the same time because you never know when it's gonna happen and what's it gonna do, and it causes you to have to adjust your life. But it's the people that can't handle it and can't stay, it's their loss. Because I'm still the same person even after I have the seizure. I'm still got the same big heart and love for people. So if you couldn't handle that, then you weren't for me from the
And
for the
that's right.
beginning. This was just told to me last night, by the way. Hi Vanessa, I see you. But I mean, you know, I just think of it as a blessing because I wouldn't Hardy Hands wouldn't be in existence if it wasn't for it. And I mean, I have a passion for this and letting people know because people really don't know. People really don't understand, and what they don't understand and they don't know, they're scared of. So I'll take the mantle. I'll take the mantle with you and Natalie and others that are educating people on what it is to be have epilepsy. You
I
know,
agree. Definitely agree. I think for me, for years, I did not tell people, even in high school, I didn't tell people I had epilepsy. It was more of an embarrassment. But I will say the older I got, I looked at my epilepsy like my superhero. Like I'm different and I like being different. My different isn't, then it was a burden, but now being older and having a voice, I realized it's not a burden. It's just a part of who I am.
okay.
And it's made, I think I definitely has strengthened me, just because when you have seizures, when you have epilepsy, you take a lot of medication and you have to build up your self-esteem for what life is going to be like with having a disability, an
Yeah.
invisible disability at that. I don't think anyone would know anything was wrong with me or you until we fell out on the floor.
Right. Exactly.
So
And
being a voice.
and that's I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's the sucky part about it because epilepsy is expensive.
Amen.
There's no assistance programs for us here in South
Oh,
Carolina until our organizations came about. There was nothing here for us, no support group, no nothing. So I mean, it is hard. You have to
mhm,
rely on your circle of people that
mhm.
for that support. Um,
It's hard to find friends too, especially when
yeah,
I think we're both blessed to have good friends who are like family to us in our life. I
yeah,
can count on my fingers. I probably can't even count how many times I did have a seizure, and I was blessed to have people around me when I knew I was in school or after I graduated, that my friends that love me, and I have a few, but have been there anytime I got sick. I had to go to the hospital. I mean, there have been times when I was in my apartment in Columbia and I had a really bad seizure coming out the shower, because dealing with epilepsy, if you know your seizures, that's good, but sometimes you just don't know when something is about to happen.
That's true.
Mm,
Vanessa wants us to ask us if we could go over what we should do if somebody has a seizure around
okay.
them. So, number one thing: do not put anything in anybody's mouth because they can bite. If you put especially your hands, they can be bitten off. You
Amen.
cannot swallow. We cannot swallow our tongue. So the best thing to do is turn us on our side and just
Yes.
talk us through it. There's nothing really that you can do except for, because that as we come out of it, we may be a little upset or something, especially if we tend to use control of our bodily function. So we may urinate on ourselves. Some people have vomited or pooped on themselves. So waking up out of that and that experiencing that, especially as an adult, it
Mhm.
can be scary. So you just have to talk us through it, let us know everything's okay. Just make sure we don't hit our head.
Put us on our side.
Yep, just keep us on
Mhm.
our side, and that'll keep us from biting our tongue or our lip or anything like that.
Yep.
Um, Only call 911 if it's been longer than 3 to 5 minutes. If it
Yep.
keeps going on constantly. I know for me, I just wouldn't call the ambulance. Now I wear this necklace
Oh,
with
you're good. I don't have no. So listen, I used to have a listen. I used to have an epilepsy bracelet, but if I'm not mistaken, when I was living in Atlanta, at my in my office, I had a seizure, and I think it broke, and I just never got a new one. But I really do need to get another one.
well, I thought the necklace would be better than the bracelet. So
Well,
I could just throw it
I
on and then I could hide it. But
but see, I got mine from Amazon. It was cute. It had a little ribbon on it.
yes, y'all,
Okay.
she is little she's bourgeois though. But yes, I made that word up.
Yes, she did. But it's okay. It's okay. We
Pretty
like
girl,
that.
it's okay. It's all right. We still love her. And
Okay.
epilepsy don't keep us from being cute either.
No, it does not. It does not. Listen, anybody who knows me knows that. Well, okay, so let me ask you this. Wait, hold on.
Go for it.
How do you think epilepsy has impacted your life?
Um, well, I tell you is I will be 40 in September.
Oh,
However, right, yes, go for the 40. However, house and never. Sometimes I feel 80.
amen. Amen.
I'm telling you, there are days where I'm just not feeling good, and I couldn't tell you what's wrong with me. I just know my body is not feeling good today. I don't, and I have bad sinuses. So if that's that on top of it, it can be a very bad day, and my sinuses sometimes can trigger a seizure. So it's just like our muscles hurt all the time from
Amen.
because all a seizure is, and a
Amen.
seizure is a neurological condition. It's because our brain waves, they move faster than we can control it, so it'll throw us into a seizure because, as we know, the brain controls our body.
Yes,
So
yes.
when it's going 15,000 miles an hour and we can't process or anything, that's when we end up having a seizure. So we have to learn how to cope and do things that slows our brains down. We have to learn to relax. Stress can be a bad kicker.
No
So,
sleep.
yep, no sleep. And sleep, we need at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep, 3 meals a day plus snacks, and take
Ice
your
cream.
medicine. And none of that I am good at.
You
But you know, that's how it is. I mean, it's been an adjustment. I'll tell you that it's been an adjustment. Um, Whereas I used to didn't like it. I used to didn't tell nobody about it. Now I talk about it all the time. But that was just me. I still sometimes don't talk about everything, but I have these friends, that like, don't be telling me you fine when you're not fine.
What type of advice would you give your younger self dealing with epilepsy that you know now as a full adult living with epilepsy?
Okay, Oprah.
Listen, oh, well, these questions just keep coming.
What would I tell my younger self? It's okay. It's
Mm,
okay. It honestly will get better. You're gonna have good days. You're gonna have bad days. That person that stopped being your friend yesterday, guess what? You're gonna get two more tomorrow. I mean, there are people. For a minute, I only maybe had three friends. I have had a friend since second grade that is one of my biggest cheerleaders. Then I had one from my junior year in high school. We've been tight since then. We went to church together. Both of whom left me when they got married. One's in Alabama, one's in Texas. God bless. Then, then I've had one that I've had since I was a kid. Me and him have been tight ever since. So, it was just those three for a minute. And then all of a sudden I have some more friends that I've had since second grade. We got split up for a minute, but I mean, those are my sisters. Those are my sisters, my brother. You know, they're not blood related, but you can't tell them that.
family,
So,
their family.
yes. So I would just tell her just to hang in there. This is just going to make you stronger. And that's what anybody with epilepsy, I feel like, are warriors. We're strong. We're strong. Man, you can't put nothing up against, because I'm telling you, don't even
Just can't.
understand. Yep.
Never
You find the
underestimate.
words for it. Yeah,
Never underestimate. I think I would
exactly.
give my younger self, I think I would say to her, it's okay to not be okay.
Yep.
And I think I would also tell her that you can also be fearless and not be afraid. Because as a young child and growing up, I definitely was scared of what people thought. And as my adult self, I've learned not to care what other people think about me
Exactly.
dealing with my walk with epilepsy, So I think I would just tell her it's going to be okay. Like that. Isn't that a gospel song? It's gonna be, I'm just making it up. Okay. Okay. It's okay.
You dropping them gems tonight, though. It's okay
Oh,
to
I'm
not be
telling
okay.
you,
How
it's
often do
okay.
we hear people like, when you say something isn't right or whatever, they looking at you like, that is always my thing too, is why I didn't really tell people a lot of stuff, because it's like, oh, here she comes, she's talking what's wrong with her. Oh my God, she's always sick. Because
Friend.
I used to hear on
Yes.
one of my jobs, like somebody looked at me one time and said, Kim, you too young to go through all this stuff. Like, really? I said, well, you tell
Someone
my
told
body
me at
that.
my job that I was complaining too much.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But that
um,
makes it easier for us to open up and talk to people, right?
I think like with you starting your nonprofit and being successful and me getting my feet wet with my nonprofit.
Congratulations with that, by the way.
Whoa, thank you, sis. It was a big step, but I think the more education we put out there, the more people will know, especially in the Black community, because it's just not talked about. It's
That's
just
true.
not something that we, it's no, I've gone to events regarding epilepsy events in Atlanta and here in South Carolina, and I need to see more of us. I need to see more of us getting educated about something that is definitely can kill either one of us. But
Yeah,
thankful we know a God that's definitely on our side.
that's true. For me, it's in my family. So after a while, I started doing my research, and it's crazy how you could be down the street from somebody all your life, and you now find out, oh, you've been dealing with the same thing, so you really haven't been alone. Listen, we're not alone. We're not alone.
ever.
And until we start talking about it, you know, nothing is gonna change. Um, Brenda wants to know, did your seizure start from lead poisoning from the pencil, or did the pencil um puncture something in your brain to trigger the seizures?
So it was both actually. When I was young, my the pencil lead lodged itself in my left eye. I still have like a really huge surgery scar from scar from my surgery. It was both. It punctured something in my brain and the poisoning as well. The surgery was about 7 hours. I was 6, and the incident, I don't think he knew. Well, I do think he knew, but I don't think he knew the severity of what he had done. The pencil lead definitely, I don't want to be vulgar, on here, but it definitely was standing out in my eye like this. And I remember as a kid pulling it out, and my eyelid was cut open. My teacher, Miss Caldwell, at the time was such in a panic. She didn't know what to do. She just put some tissue over my eye and sent me to the nurse. So, and if I'm honest in my story, I didn't have a seizure that day. My seizure happened 2 weeks later because this pencil lead was still in my brain. After
Wow.
nurse, I got home. They didn't call my parents. This was in 1983. That tells my age. But no one notified my parents, my mom or dad. So when I'm getting off the bus, my mom sees this gauze on my eye. And I told her what happened. She called the school. We were living on the Air Force Base in Washington, D.C. I went to the hospital. They stitched up my eye. And I kept telling my mom I didn't feel well. I was sleepy for 2 weeks. And the whole 2 weeks, this pencil lead was in my brain. So I had a huge, huge seizure that led me to the hospital. The doctors discovered the pencil lead, and that's why the surgery was 7 hours long. When I woke up, I had no hair. I had to learn how to talk. So, but I have hair now. It's just under my wig. But so it was. I think then, and my mom, they wanted to go back in to the doctors wanted to go back in because I have scar tissue on behind my left eye. And I've heard that the poisoning from the pencil lead triggered, or it could be the scar tissue that's behind my eye that's causing me to have seizures. But the scar tissue has grown since I was 6 and now 38 to like the size of a quarter. So if I did go to get a surgery that's out there for people who have epilepsy, I would have to learn how to talk again. I would have to learn how to write. And I was like, you know what? I'm just thug it out. I'm gonna deal with these seizures, and that's just gonna be it. I hope I answered your question, though, Miss Brenda.
Well, wow, that. Now I didn't know
I
the
don't.
extent to
I
the
was about to say,
story.
I
You
don't
didn't
think
tell me all that.
yeah, I don't think you knew that either. Yeah, I definitely had the incident first, and then 2 weeks later is when I had the seizure because no one knew that the pencil lead was in my eye. And me being 6 years old, when the pencil broke, yes, the pencil was still there, but the lead had broken to my eye, and I was bald headed girl.
PSA for the children. This is why your parents say do not run with pencils and scissors and sharp objects in your hand.
Yes, and I've never seen him to this day. Thank you. Okay, I'm glad I answered your question, Miss Brenda. Yeah, I don't know. I've tried to find him on Facebook too, but it is
Why
what
you
it
gonna
is.
fuss at them?
That's what I said. It is what it is at this point. But like I said, I think being young, and I was in the hospital for 4 months after that. It was my seizures were like every day, 2, 3 times a day. I was not
Now,
myself. I was on so
aside
many.
from the scar tissue, do you have any other effects from
Um,
that?
I have my memory is horrible. I don't remember a lot of things. My comprehension is bad. I loved going to school, but school didn't love me. It was the studying part. Besides the fact that I didn't remember anything, my comprehension I had triggers, I have headaches. Some days I just don't feel good, because of the medication that it does on my body, the side effects. I have tremors with my hand. I think the worst, though, for me is probably the comprehension and the memory, because even with my job, I have to write a lot of things down. I put things in my phone because if I don't, I will forget.
Right.
So, and it can be a burden, but you just stuck it out. You deal with it.
Taught you got to be strong.
Hey,
Now, anybody who's watching this, we thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate all the love. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to leave comments. We can see them, so you just go ahead and ask whatever you want to ask. Now, how many medications are you on?
I am on Zimpac and I am on Tegretol,
That's
and I take
aggressive.
those morning, noon, and night. I've been on a lot
So
of
you take it three
medication.
times a day?
Yeah, morning, noon, and night.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. I know the last medications I
Oh,
was
and
on.
you know what else is a side effect? Weight
What?
gain.
Who you telling?
They put you on weight loss. Listen, oh
You
my
don't tell me
goodness.
nothing.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
I
But
know.
it's when I've been on a lot of seizure meds. Like I have. I mean, I think we both have at being
Yeah.
having so much longevity dealing with epilepsy. I think we both have been on the medications. Like, did they ever offer you or say that you would be a candidate for surgery?
No. Well, so with me, I have to convince doctors that I actually have seizures. So,
Oh,
yeah, like I've gotten medical records from neurologists before that says I need to see a psychiatrist. Um, so I mean, they'll medicate me and everything. If up until the last set that I was having was, and the neurologist I was seeing then when it first started, he said, I don't think it was a seizure. I don't know what it was, but we'll figure it out. Mind you, I was having them a
that
lot,
makes
and I
no
was having them
sense.
alone. Huh?
That makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. So you're telling me that, okay, I've been having these seizures since I was like 10. So you're going to tell me that I don't know what a seizure is and what it feels like afterwards, but you can't tell me what it is.
Oh Lord,
So
honey.
I went to another neurologist. Well, my primary care was helping me. I work for a doctor, and he suggested I go to MUSC. Went to
Ooh,
MUSC. At the time I went to MUSC, my body was doing all kinds of things. My blood sugar was dropping, my blood pressure was going up, and she put me on something to control my blood sugar from dropping because I almost passed out in church.
oh yeah.
Um, and at the time I was directing the youth choir, so the praise team was up, and I was about to go down.
I've had a seizure. I was the praise dance director for my church, Mount Zion. We had a performance, girl. I'm walking in the back because I knew I could feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt
Yep.
so horrible because I didn't want my girls to see me that
Yep.
way. And
That's
as soon as
exactly
I
what
walked
I
in
was
the
feeling.
back, I had the seizure and they all ran in. I felt horrible because they were all crying. I didn't want them to see me like that.
Yeah, that was my thing. And
Hmm.
I was holding my bestie's daughter. So I put her down. I got one of the moms to come over, and I got to the back. And one of the ladies that's like my church auntie, she took me into the bathroom and she was like, your blood sugar's dropping. That's what's wrong with you. So got some crackers and stuff, and I seem to have stabilized, but it was like the drums hit and I was like, whoa. So when I went down to MUSC, he seen that I was on the medicine. I think it was metformin. I think he seen I was on that. Oh, he said, "Oh, you have diabetes." I said, "No, my blood sugar just drops sometimes." So she wanted to try and stabilize it. He said, "Oh, diabetes."
I can't.
And it's the thing is, I feel like sometimes it's so discouraging. Um, you have doctors that we're black women.
Wait, Kim, we have a question
Okay.
or maybe a comment, I think. Do you
I've
see it?
heard promising research about the keto diet and its effectiveness. Okay, so
Go
the
ahead.
keto diet, yes, it has worked in some cases, but there's a lot to the keto diet, so it can be a plus
It's very
and it can be a
strenuous.
positive. Yeah, it's really
Yes.
good for kids. Great for
hmm
kids.
I don't think
Um,
it's good for adults.
yeah, I don't know how good it is with adults. We just have to monitor what we eat.
I've
Um,
been on the keto diet. It didn't help me. I feel like that I had so many seizures. I was on it for almost a year, but it did
because you
not
have to be
work.
careful not to go into ketotonics or something. Is that what it is?
hmm
Yeah,
hmm
yeah. So yeah, I don't. I've heard a lot of good things about the keto
I mean,
diet.
I have
I've
too, but
also
it
heard
didn't
a
work
lot
for
of
me.
it didn't really help type situations. I'm
hmm
not. I suggest you if you feel like you want to try it, go
Go
for it.
ahead. Go
Yeah,
for it.
let me know. Come tell
hmm
me. Come on, we'll bring you to the
Go
table.
for it.
Um, but no, what I was saying is that we're black women. Okay, so now that was already a negative. Okay, black woman, you're a woman, black, white, indifferent woman. Okay, so then your blood pressure might have been a little elevated that day. You're hypertensive automatically off the jump.
hmm
Um, blood sugar dropping. Oh, you're some kind of diabetic. That's another one. Then you're overweight. That's what it all is. You're not having no seizures. You just a fat black woman who got hypertension and diabetes, and that's what's wrong with you. I mean, this is seriously how I feel when I go in. I don't even like going to the doctor anymore.
Oh,
My primary
Jesus.
care is probably my most favorite doctor, and I've had trouble even going this year to have my physical. Let's just be real. My anxiety flares up and stuff. It's just like, oh, another thing. I'm going to the doctor, and I'm still not going to get any answers. So it's frustrating. That's about the most frustrating part for me is being looked at like I don't know my body. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm making it up. Now, do people make stuff like this up? Absolutely, they do, which makes it harder for those of us who's really going through it. But for me, you're a medical doctor that studies neurology. You're a brain expert. You should know that everybody's epilepsy does not look
It's
the
different.
same. You cannot treat them the same. You can't have medicines lined up and say, I'm going to give you this medicine because you know what? It's been working for you. Even though you're still having seizures,
I've
it's
been on
we're not going to take
Tegretol
you off of it.
for, oh gosh, I've been on Tegretol for about 15 years. So what has changed is other medications along with my Tegretol. But
And
I've
here's
been
the
on
funny part. Those other medications that could be causing bad side effects to your body.
yeah, and we know that.
Yes, we do, which that's another conversation for another day.
I was about to get
Watch
into
us
it
in
too.
March.
I was about to get into it. I really was about to get into it.
But yeah,
What
I mean, go
what
ahead.
has your mom taught you about being having epilepsy? Did she teach you not to feel sorry for yourself, or how did she deal with and manage with you having epilepsy?
So with us, it was different. Okay, so we weren't getting any answers, so we really didn't know.
Mm.
The part where we really, really had to face it and deal with it was when I had it was having them a few years ago.
Oh,
Scary for her, um, because she was never with me when I had him. The only person who was with me was my dog. So I was downstairs, she was upstairs. I'm having him in my sleep. I'm walking around looking like a zombie because of the high dosage of medicine they had me on. Like I went. Okay, so I'm a very strong advocate of self care. And for those of us who have seizures, we should get regular massages. So I walked into my
oh
massage
yeah, you
therapist
did say that.
and she looked at me and she said, I don't know what you're on, but your doctors need to take you off of it. Dark rings around my eyes. I was just like, huh? So, I can only speak from what I saw. I know she was scared. But
Understandable.
one thing that she's taught me is strength, her strength.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in the room listening to me, so I hope she hear me. But
Okay,
she had
mama.
some strong strength to sit up there and watch me go through all that and just deal and not really know what to do. She didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do. So
Mm-hmm.
all she could do was pray.
Pray.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
How about your mom?
I think for I shouldn't say this. I mean, when I got diagnosed, it was 1983, so I don't think they knew a lot. I had doctors tell me that I would be mentally retarded. I wouldn't be able to obtain a diploma, nor less a degree. They told my mom and my dad that I would kind of be like a vegetable the rest of my life. And to know that I was able to graduate high school and get my degree, and I have a decent job. I'm working at one of the biggest institutions or universities in Atlanta. And I think my mom instilled in me at a young age, you are not different. She, as growing up, she wanted me to be in activities. I participated in church activities. I was a cheerleader. I did some ballet. I was in the choir. I did a lot of things. I don't think she wanted me to feel like I wasn't like Suzanne and Michael and
Right,
Jonathan. She just wanted me to be a regular kid, despite me dealing with epilepsy. I think
right.
what she taught me, just like your mom, was strength and faith. Pray. Prayer will get you through any and everything.
Yes, Lord. I got a
Mm.
praying grandmama, so I know about that.
Oh, praying
Hallelujah.
grandmother.
Yes. Well, oh, you had said something that made me want to go back to it. I can't remember now. The effects of epilepsy, y'all.
I'm trying to remember, what did I say? I don't even
No,
know.
I mean, oh yeah. Okay, so tell the people what you do.
Oh, I work at Georgia State. I'm a veterans certifying official specialist for the Veterans Department at GSU.
That does not sound like you have any special needs to me.
I mean, I won't lie. When I first got the job, I did not think I can handle it. It was a lot. My brain was going through, I was definitely having a lot of seizures because I was stressed. But my mom just told me, you can do this. Before that, I was a senior academic advisor. I was still in education, but in a different way. But, Donna was like, you can do this. You don't let
Yes, Donna.
beat you. You are going to beat this. If you have to take notes, record from your phone to learn all this stuff. And that's what I did. And I think I'm pretty good.
Yes, honey.
Oh, we don't have any sense. This was
Man,
fun.
this was. I'm so excited about things that we got coming up.
I know. Pay attention, people. It's gonna be
Yes. And
this was
some of
fun.
the topics we'll touch on are, caregivers, our caregivers, trauma, um,
Depression,
yeah, depression, anxiety.
anxiety,
Some we touched on tonight.
mhm,
Um, we
menopause.
have to be out of our own head
Mhm.
sometimes. So okay, so yes, it can be. It can be. Brenda is my cousin, by the way. Her father also dealt with seizures and everything.
Hey,
So
Brenda.
yes, it for I know Brenda, for us it very well is.
But it can
And
also be
I'm
due to
finding it
trauma.
on both sides of my family, huh?
I said epilepsy can be also due to trauma.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. And what we will talk with Dr. Vanessa Guyton is trauma. And trauma comes in different ways,
Mhm.
and seizures can be traumatizing, y'all. Even for somebody watching, I'll never forget, my cousin called me at work not too long ago, about a year or so ago, and one of her classmates had a seizure. She called me all upset. She said the first thing she thought of was me. She said, I was scared just standing there watching that. And she said, then
Mhm.
it made me think about what you go through.
Mhm.
And I had to get off the phone with her because she's gonna have me crying at work. But I called her back to check on her.
It can be like that. My niece saw me have a seizure That might have been no, I think it might have been earlier this year. I can't remember, but I don't think she could comprehend, what exactly was going on. She just knew I was on the floor. And that particular day, I had like four seizures. So she couldn't understand why I was on the floor, but she knew that I didn't feel well. The
Right.
next day she came over, I was still at my mom's house, and she was so kind. She just came back there and she was holding my hand. Like, Auntie Vaughn, are you okay?
She's young. I try to talk to my nieces too.
Hmm.
I had a conversation with them last week on what to do if Auntie gets sick.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, because let me tell you, my nieces they're 7 and 4, but they don't act 7 and 4. So my oldest niece had all kinds of questions. She was like, so because she loves Hardy Hands, anything Hardy Hands she loves. So um just making sure they understand because I keep them on Fridays, and if something happens, I want them to know what to do. So that was important to me. But just trying to educate them and stuff like that on that is just it's just
Mhm.
scary because I told them, I said it may seem scary, but Auntie's okay. You just have to go find somebody and get help.
Mhm.
So I told them about my necklace and everything. So kids. It can be trying. I'm always worried about what that would do to them.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, so that's why I try to talk to them beforehand.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I loved this. This was actually a lot of fun. We were on here talking well, we are girlfriends.
Right.
Girl.
That's
Mm.
why we said we're gonna have a purple table talk, y'all. It's just an open conversation. You guys can ask questions like you did, and I thank you all for joining us tonight because this was exactly what we wanted. We wanted you guys to ask it. And listen, if you have to watch the replay, still leave the
Watch it.
questions and comments in
And
there. We
still
will
ask
answer your
questions.
questions.
Yeah.
We will even come back on and follow up the next um
Friday.
purple table talk and make sure we get the questions that you ask out there. We will be watching the comments and stuff. Anytime you want to reach out to me or Miss Cherry, just make you can message us. You can leave a
We are
message
both
on.
on all social
Yep.
media platforms.
Yes, ma'am.
Facebook,
So
Instagram. I don't have a Twitter though, but you can catch me on IG and Facebook.
I have a Twitter. You can inbox me. I have two Twitters, my personal and Hardy Hands Foundation. You could email
Yes.
me at hardyhands@gmail.com. What's your email address? You got one?
Cherry, Cherry Jenvon 33 at gmail.com. Listen, the epitome of epilepsy is just getting started. So
I
we are
got
in
her,
a
guys.
work in
We're gonna get her
progress.
straight.
So with us linking, I'm learning a lot of stuff from my epilepsy sis over here.
Yes. Hey, listen, it's a lifelong journey, but we got this together.
Got this. Yes.
So we wanted to let you all know that we will be doing a support group on March 27th. And March 26th is Purple Day. So we're kicking off Purple Day by supporting one another on the following Saturday. The 26th is on Friday. So
Mhm.
we challenge everybody to wear their purple on March 26th in support of
Right.
all of us warriors living with epilepsy, all of us warriors that are caring and loving for someone with epilepsy. And we just greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate you for coming, you and Tiff for coming on tonight.
Thank you,
Nothing
Miss.
like family love.
Nothing.
So, all right, man, we want to wrap it up.
Well, like Kimberly said, we really just want to thank everyone for participating and questions and just listening to us, basically. We just wanted to share our story. We wanted to educate people about our story, living with epilepsy, our walking our life with epilepsy, and just kind of letting people know that we're here. We're going to start linking up. We've got a lot of exciting things approaching. And I mean, we're really excited about this. We think it's going to be really good. And we just want to thank everyone for coming in and watching us.
Yes, we thank you. And we will see you next Saturday, 4 o'clock. We got some special guests on that will definitely make the conversations rock on this purple table. So
Mhm.
thank you all. We wish that you have a blessed and safe weekend, a blessed and safe week, and we will catch you next Saturday at 4 p.m. for what? Purple Table Talk with
Purple
Kim
Table Talk.
and
And Vaughn. Wait, can you say it?
yes. You guys have a great evening. We love you. Good night.
Good night.